I think this is something that was slightly overdue, right? We aim to have it in the last quarter, but and I think we wanted to make sure that we have really, really good product updates and really, really good outcome. So I think it just took us slightly longer this time, but I think we're still mostly staying with a quarterly cadence. So yeah. So without anything you want to get out, Martijn, or anyone you want to introduce before we jump in?
No, just a special thanks to our. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, special welcome to our DAO directors, Frank, Arndt, also Eddie from the Cere Network Foundation. But yeah, I would say let's dive in. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to.
Are we able to record this? Because I think since the invite's on a different email, I'm not able to.
We should have the rights to go with it. All right, cool. So yeah, second General Assembly. Last one was in March. Like Fred said, we'll try to stay more in cadence for the next GA. But we do have a lot of very exciting updates, both on the technical product side as well as the DAO. So without further ado, Fred, stage is yours. Let's kick this off.
Great. Do we have is this being recorded?
Yeah, I'm recording with OBS.
Okay, great. Yeah,
and
I just started recording too.
As well, I think, as backup.
Sorry.
Okay, so it's being recorded, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think we have a lot of really good news for everyone, and we want to take this opportunity to really showcase some of the real product innovation that we have. Thanks a lot to the team who's been working very hard on this. Right, every day we're just grinding and fighting to get the product ready, and I think it's quite a monumental achievement if you really think about what Dragon One represents. Right, so Dragon One is a data cluster that spans across Europe and North America. And currently, it's mostly run by, we're basically operating most of the nodes, right? But in terms of functionality, it's already able to reach kind of a polished and streamlined, usability, just like you do with AWS, right? Try to use AWS 3 or versus Dragon 1. It's, arguably easier, right? And what's even more important is that this whole cluster is actually powered by our protocol, right? The validators are, computing, analyzing a lot of the data activity that's going on and verifying for a lot of artifacts that's actually being, rolled up through ZK within the Dragon One cluster. Those are some of the more technical nuances. But right now, we're just really focused on start to get real users to use this, as a real competitive product to the current incumbent data infrastructure players, right? Because so far, anyone in DeepIn knows that most of the Web3 infrastructure projects have not really chipped into that, right? And everything is moving to the cloud, right? And we know that this is going to be $1 trillion market soon, but we want to take that first bite, right? And really sort of spearhead this movement towards where everything is going. So I think everyone can now use it, right? This is really important. We're not just saying, hey, we have a product, but you can't see it. Oh, we have a product that just only runs in our local environment. No, this is a product that's fully live with very, very rich set of dashboard, very, very easy to use. I encourage everyone on this call and everyone in the community to go try it out, right? We would love to have early user feedback, right? We would love to have feedback, good, bad, criticism, improvement, suggestions. We'll love all of that, right? Next slide. So we've already run, I think, more than 2 billion simulations, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. And in terms of just robustness, is very, very good. So that's why we're using it in our own production apps now, and we're inviting everyone else to start using it, right, in their to do certain things with, maybe one of their apps or part of some of their users with one of the apps, streaming some content and whatnot. And it's, you can use it today, right? Next slide. So, and yeah, and it's, far less expensive, right, than your current, especially comparing to content delivery, content streaming networks. And also it's faster, right? And it's a lot of innovative design and a lot of hard work went into this as well. Next slide. And there's also a wealth of utility tools, SDKs, things that helps you integrate easier and do some of the things that we're doing. We will be actually showcasing some of the things that we've been doing and pointing out to say exact tools that you can actually use to do the same things, right? These are being made available as we speak, and we'll continue to release more and more of these as they become more polished, right? And it's like anyone who built software before always knows, like, go to your engineers, say, hey, I need good documentation, I need good integration guides. They'll say like, wait, let me try to make sure everything works first, right? So it's a constant struggle try to get things that's ready to use from a external usability perspective, but we're getting there. Next slide. More importantly, right, we're actually start to run real campaigns, right? Some of you guys may even be targeted through some of our ad campaigns, right, on LinkedIn, on Twitter or X.com, right? So we're targeting all the developers out there, right? But very specific segments of them who can benefit from our tool as it is today. So this is the process that's known as like targeting your early customer profile and evolving them into paths would become our ideal customer profile, right? So I think this is just to generate real demand for Dragon One, right, and soon for other data clusters. And so basically, you're see some very compelling, right? Whether it's faster, cheaper, easier to use message targeting a developer, and the moment you click on it, you go right into our developer console, right? Can test it out, try it out, right? You can use it to store information. You can use it to stream content already, right? And you can already also use as a decentralized or Web3 CDP, right? We'll launch that in the next couple of weeks. And also you can go to Discord now to get immediate support, right? We're ramping up now as we speak. We will be able to onboard roughly, I think, 100 developers per week, right? Real developers, right, into our user base. Next slide.
Yeah, to clarify, CDP is customer data platform.
Sure. Again, the difference here with most of the other protocols is that we are confident in the product enough that we actually generate real world demand, right? We do not just like use some part of a token supply treasury or inflation to incentivize people to join or earn tokens by doing running some nodes. No, we're generating real supply, like real demand, right? To be able to provide real yield to everyone who's partaking in our community. Next slide. Sure. So these are some of the projections that we have already, right? So we already have real utility every day that's actually being served by Dragon One, and that's being mapped into validator yields, right? And then that's shared with everyone who's staking and nominating on the blockchain. And even it's small, but just having that real world tokenization of data cloud utility into Theory token, that's a monumental step, right? So we will be updating on releasing a lot of these dashboards so everyone can actually look at how exactly these content are being streamed, for example, and how did the nodes actually earn yield from that or earn fees from that, and how did the validation process collect and facilitate these kind of secure transaction payments for verifying that work, and then how that goes into on-chain payments, how that is paid into on-chain treasury into everyone's yield, right? We'll be releasing that in the next quarter. And then even more exciting is that we have we'll touch on it a little bit later, right? We already have the second data cluster specifically provisioned for AI, enterprise customer that we're getting ready as well, right? So we're aiming to have no less than 3 data clusters by end of the year, right? And also be able to get to that measurable amount of utility in terms of real world, like AWS equivalent, right, of data cloud utility that's being tokenized into our network. And I think this is huge, right, for all of Web3. And I think we've just been heads down building for too long to even start to really kind of a marketing, right, and evangelizing that aspect. And and also the timeline here is actually very, very well thought out in terms of exactly when we'll be able to have some of our strategic partners to be able to run data clusters as well, and then fully open to anyone, right, in about a year from now. And next slide. And that's mostly because we have 2 very, very important development tracks. One is actually the governance innovation that we build on top of this, where in the future any self-organizing set of group of people can say, hey, we want to like get together and run a data cluster and propose something on chain that's to say, hey, this is how we're operating and this is how we'll be able to generate real demand and guarantee good operations and some form of minimum economic yield, right, to the protocol. So that will all be run by on-chain governance, right? So that's one of the many key innovations that we need to mature, right? We're testing that with Dragon One now. We'll be working closely with partners on the second party data clusters to get ready for the third party. And this kind of illustrate that point, right? So by Q3, by end of Q3, we'll be sending some invites, some of the community supporters to be able to run data nodes themselves, right? Start sharing some of that real world demand with them. This is to help us to really kind of mature, right? To make sure that these guys can ask a lot of questions, test a lot of our internal tools. All of that is to get ready for our second party cluster, right? Second party partners, so they can run. We're looking to have 2 to 3 at minimum, right, by end of the year to be launched, and that's to really fully get us ready for anyone can run these data clusters, right? And again, the biggest difference between us and some of the other deeper projects is that we're not just the protocol is separated from the actual the operation of the data clusters, right? And that way it's not only more decentralized, but also anyone who has a special need to say, hey, in this part of the world, we need data clusters that do these type of data operations that can be optimized to this, right? This opens up so much more real world potential as well, right? I just want to touch on that. Next slide. Sure. Go ahead. So we have right now we actually have real customer that we're actually testing with the full AI stack, like secure AI computation and agent orchestration tool that actually uses our automated infrastructure, right? Because if you really think about it, even if you have all the data secure through your data wallet and then you're fully encrypted, right? You still need to have a permission scheme, right? And the to allow permission access with the trusted agents, right? And you need to see how and when they actually access your data. So this whole set of innovation is actually what we set out to build when we launched in 2019, right? I don't know if anybody here, like who's any of the visitors here go back that far, right? But that's when we came out of Binance Labs and we raised money to build decentralized Salesforce, right? That was our goal. It just that somewhere along the way, a couple of years in, we realized, okay, we have to actually build our own automated data infrastructure if you want to have that full end-to-end security, right? So I think it's the reasons are obvious, but this is actually very, very exciting, and we're definitely have some ramp up plans here, and we expect to have not just like something that's prototype, but like a real enterprise customer that we can showcase. This is exactly how they're leveraging our technology, right? This is going to open up a lot of opportunities in 2025. Web3, Web2, doesn't matter, right? Okay, cool. Next slide.
Getting to the DAO update. Thanks, Fred. I'm sure there will be a couple questions after your part of the presentation, but let's save those for the end. For now, I want to hand it over to Frank and Arndt, our DAO directors, to update the community and DAO on everything marketing, growth, aspirations, and our financial operations. Arndt.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Martijn. Thanks, Fred, for the introduction and the hard work that also the team put in there over the last, or since the last DAO meeting, I should say. Yes, as you've seen, the transition to a fully independent DAO is a journey for us, and we are making steady and good progress. We are committed further on to transparency, and we'll continue to keep you updated on our initiatives. So we are happy to see the DAO growing in the future and realizing all these DAO goals. So as we've seen in the previous slides, the product is launched in beta and ready to hit the market. After the building phase, we are now focusing on driving the demand and the real adaptation of the product. This is really important. And a newsletter is going out with more than 90,000 subscribers. For the next quarter, we have the goal to onboard 5 top key opinion leaders. And the quarter after, Fred just went into a little bit more detail, but with our AI integrations, we will show real utilization. This will obviously lead to an increase of demand and further utilization and grow our community. This will be accompanied with press releases on integrations, and that on a permanent basis, as you can imagine. These are all ongoing actions to increase and support the Cere community. And also here, we are happy to get your feedback in terms of suggestions, improvements, etc. Next slide. So this is just a quick one, social engagement and activity progress. In order to get a better understanding of what's going on in the community, we have now the tracking in place for various platforms and channels. And we witnessed a strong increase in our community numbers. Since the last General Assembly, we have increased our engagement on X and Discord, which are two very important channels. And in order to guarantee, for example, the developer influx Fred was mentioning earlier, and that these developers get instant support on Discord and Telegram, we have actually tripled our community staff. And we hope that this will actually please the developing community and get the necessary support they want. So these are some important metrics which we will continue to observe and strive to improve. For the next quarter, the DAO will focus on measuring different also content headlines, those community numbers and follow-up engagements, and introduce some of the reward systems. And this is where I can hand over to Frank, who will actually talk a little bit more about this and dive a bit deeper into these topics where we are from a legal point of view and how we're going to do the finances.
Thanks, Arndt.
So over to you, Frank.
Yeah, thank you, Arndt. Thanks, Martijn, Fred. I think what we have learned now from Arndt is that we have different initiatives in order to build the Cere community. And a part of building the Cere community, of course, we're building the Cere brand awareness, right? So that's one of the major milestones, is to enhance the brand awareness in this ecosystem. and basically to keep track on our progress, to better understand the effectiveness of our engagement and of the different initiatives. We basically have chosen Google Trends as one of the main KPIs or strategic KPIs that we will be looking at. So from GA to GA, you will be hearing from us where we are with regard to the success or the steps achieved in order to gain more brand awareness, especially if we look into relation of our main competitors, right? So we want to know in relation to the main competitors where we are. We want to track the progress, and we want to use this strategic KPI to correct and measure and learn about the progress that we achieve. So our goal that we have set is quite ambitious. So over time, we would like to be the leader in this segment in terms of brand awareness, and it's a path, obviously, but we're committed to drive the necessary initiatives with our partners in order to really achieve the leadership there. Now, it's a lot of hard work, but I think we have a good starting point. We've seen that we're ramping up our initiatives, and we're committed to achieve that, and we will report back to you as a community where we are and how effective we've been with these initiatives. Okay, that's so much to brand awareness and how we're going to measure it and what our ambitions are. Now something crucial, very important. I think the last couple of months since the last GA, we've been intensively working on this piece. So as we have learned also from Fred indicating the different steps already that we have achieved, we are well on our way to really get a fully decentralization going for the DAO. We hope to achieve this by Q2 in next year, 2025. But what have we achieved already now is we have fully basically the qualification for as a utility token. So it's a major step. We're fully compliant with Swiss regulation. And basically now in Q3, we're ready to finally start some distribution of tokens to the community. So I think this will strengthen our governance. We really we're focused on rock solid governance in this case, making sure we hedge our risks here, fully complying with the Swiss regulation. We have well engaged with our legal partners to achieve this, and I think from where we are now, we can be proud of this qualification as a utility token, and I think we've taken the necessary steps to really start now in Q3 distributing tokens with a multi-sig DAO signature procedure, a compliant procedure behind that. And so really we can start rewarding the community with tokens and with grants and really driving initiatives to build up our community there. Good. I think that's it from this point of view, but we're going to move on with Martijn to
absolutely. Yeah, and thanks guys for giving community the update. And like I said, we're meeting weekly. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's just great seeing you guys more involved. And we really want to keep driving for that to really get this independent DAO going. But yeah, most of the risks are now hedged, so we should be ready to go. Next up, we circulated a form with questions. Often you'll see a lot of repetition in there, mostly around the roadmap. Of course, we have that in detail covered in the presentation before. We will be sharing the deck for everybody to look at it and ask questions, but we won't go into that for the general community questions. However, Fred, I got 2 questions for you that came forward, which I think are good to answer. To start off, why did it take 5 years to get here?
Well, I mean, that's definitely it's being called out a little bit, right? Well, I mean, if you really think about it, right, anything that's any substantial innovation or any long-lasting company usually takes a long time to build, right? And I think if you look at our path, our progress is really, I think when we came out of Binance Labs in 2019, we are focused on building decentralized Salesforce, right? Which means that give that data sovereignty back to the consumers, allow people to have security over their data that can bring with them or the data wallet from place to place to place, right? But the further we went along, the more we realized, and we did this in 2021 when we did our public sale, right? That's when we kind of like came out saying we're going to build a protocol, L1 protocol, that will power secure data computation on fully automated data infrastructure, right? Because we realize that without that, there is no true data sovereignty, right? Without that, there's no real true data security, right? So, and again, right, case, data leaks happen every day, right? Big data kind of have everyone's data at hostage, right? That's not changing anytime soon, right? But it's about to change, I think, for the AI era. Luckily for us, we're just kind of getting to the place where all of our hard work will start paying off soon. So to really answer that question, I think last 3 years we've just been heads down building, right? During the ups and downs, the froth, the peak of the froth, frothy market, to the depth of the sort of the bear market, right, in Web3. None of that stopped us at all. In fact, if you talk to anyone, right, all of them will say, hey, last number of years, there's not a single day that goes by, right? Like most people can attest that here, all the people who work with us, right, are still part of the team. Not a single day that goes by when we didn't fight like hell to try to get the product done, get the product released, right? So it's extremely hard challenge to tell you that, right? So Filecoin roughly try to do the same thing as we're doing now. So everyone knows, right? You can store stuff on IPFS, but try to retrieve it in a automated way or trying to do anything on that data, it's almost impossible. So they set out to build what they call the Saturn network, right? Which is focused on just doing what we are showing you today, right? You can in fact go into Dragon One, set up an account, and upload some videos. You can already stream that, right? You can also do programmatic and pay-per-view, right? Using your Web3 wallet, right? You can do all that, right? That's not achievable. In fact, Filecoin Saturn project gave up, right? So anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that it took an incredible amount of dedication to get to what we are now, but I think the real thing we should focus on is that now we have a foundation for secure and automated data computation, right? That set us well to really grow into a number of use cases and opportunities, right, in the coming months and quarters, right? So we will be bringing a lot of those real world use cases to everyone. So basically we've been kind of eating shit for 5 years. Yes, that's the short answer.
Yeah, and if you want to see what progress looks like, again, you can try that for yourself right now. Next question. How will Cere drive for enterprise and AI integrations?
Well, I think right now everyone is trying to launch their AI strategy, right? But how do you have any kind of a trust with all the different layers of vendors and layers of platforms, and how do you know you'll have ultimate security, right? And how do you know that when your data was accessed and when it was permitted, well, what was permitted, what was not? So fortunately for us, we've been building these tools all along the past 5 years, right? If you really think about it, we built our own wallet, right, in 2022 to do secure data transactions, right, through a number of use cases. We've done secure data ETL way back in 2020, right, before we even built our protocol. We built a number of secure computation tools that we'd be using, right, to on top of our data infrastructure, which by the way, right, is exactly what the world needs, which is, everyone needs secure edge computation that not only is it's more secure, lives on the edge and can be fully automated, but you can plug this secure data computation on top of that, and smart agent account for agent orchestration on top. There is problems that we already are solving today using this framework, right? So I think in the next 6 months or so, I think a lot of this will become much more available. So.
Cool, thanks. I see there are some live questions coming in as well, which was part of the live Q&A. The first question I saw might actually be one for our Chief Integration, Bren. Is there an ETA on sub-wallet staking? And perhaps you can explain as to why it's so important that our new integration partners support staking of Cere.
Yeah, so we're working both with Sub-Wallet and Nova Wallet. Nova Wallet is mostly focused on a mobile wallet for the Polkadot ecosystem. So a lot of people who have worked with Polkadot, they are familiar with Polkadot.js, which is the basic wallet, but it's not so user-friendly. And that's why it's really important to work with these third-party wallets, which are much more user-friendly, much more like MetaMask and other products, very easy to use. So that's why we're working with both Sub-Wallet and Nova Wallet to have Cere network integrated, and both already have. So they support our network, they support the token. But like Andy mentioned, the next step is having one-click staking. So then basically you can open up the app, open up the browser plugin, and just directly from there start staking on a Cere validator. And that is very important because that will make it much easier for people to go into our ecosystem and really support our network. Because then you can go directly to validator, start staking your tokens. You can vote on proposals and so forth, and really make a difference and get your voice heard in our DAO, for example. Now, to the question when this is going to happen, of course, we have to wait until both Sub-Wallet and Nova Wallet have time on their roadmap. So Nova Wallet has planned this for August. I'm still waiting for the confirmation on the exact date. And same for Sub-Wallet. They're going to push it this month. So hopefully by the end of the month, we will have 2 staking options, both for desktop and for mobile through these 2 partners.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent, for that. Next question is for Frank. On the brand awareness, the metrics are clear, but what are initiatives to work on the awareness? You might have missed it, but good to reiterate.
Yeah, of course. Good question. I think the last couple of months, we've been intensively working with different partners, identifying them, onboarding them, and at the end of the day, working on different strategies in order to create content and initiatives, campaigns that basically work on that. So some of the things Arnd was highlighting, basically newsletters are now going out or have been sent out. We're working on the KOLs, right, where we're driving initiatives with them. We tend to have additional press releases, but of course we will intensify many more campaigns. I think they're important is that we have some ideas that we're placing, we're measuring the effectiveness of this content, of this initiatives, and we're really tracking what works, what doesn't work, right? And also we're basically working on tracking the effectiveness of people out there in the community on how well they multiply our message. And basically over time, we will iterate on these different strategies that we have started to trigger now. And I'm very confident that we will find good and basically sustainable ways of enhancing that brand awareness. We need a starting point. The starting point basically we have tackled now. We're basically driving campaigns. We will ramp that up, measure, adjust, do it again, and focusing on a couple of different channels as outlined also by Arnd. And I think like this, we're slowly progressively building the community, but also the brand awareness. And I think here the key is that we effectively use our means, right? And I think we're now enabled to track the progress and to track the success of everything we do, and also we're able to reward then basically people that ambassadors that multiply our message. So this is the approach, that's the strategy, and we will get a bit more concrete, I think, in the next GA on the initiatives that we have tried and perhaps adjustments we have done. So this is the way we want to increase the community and, of course, drive brand awareness.
Thanks, Frank. Brent, you had a comment on this?
Yeah, maybe Rick missed it, but just as we pointed out in the slides, we will be doing KOL initiatives, we will be doing PR initiatives, and we are already doing targeted ads. So those are very concrete things that are already being done. So in case you missed it, yeah, that's what was touched on already.
Thanks, Brent. Bit more technical question for Fred. How does Cere plan to maintain the security of data in second, third-party clusters if they operate independently from the protocol?
Well, I think for special enterprise use cases where I think they will not be validated by our validators, we're not securing or guaranteeing the data security, right? Because that's basically it's a stack that they kind of are running on top. And they can use a lot of our toolkits and a lot of our secure computation technology on top of that. But for the most part, those kind of federated clusters. So I don't fully understand the question, right? You're talking about data security as a general in terms of technical design. I can talk about that. Where we want to talk about just people who just say, "Hey, I want to take your automated."
I think it's a matter of responsibility here, right? So I think
the question is not clear, right? I mean, it's if you're talking about just if people are not kind of operating using our on-chain governance, right? Is that the question? If that's the question, then my answer I gave you is just that, right? You still probably use our substrate based runtime upgrade framework to update your software and pay your licensing fees that way, right? But you still contribute to the overall protocol and community. But but in terms of what you run in your own permission clusters with the 20 machine you have in your in your office or school, whatever, like we're not responsible for that, right? But if you're
So I think that's the exact question to maybe the
well, I think it's two questions in one, right? So I'm kind of answering one and not answering the other. But if you're just talking about technology-wise, yes, I think all of the validators, for all the people who want to run nodes in the future, all of them have to go through this very strict process where they have to bond onto our network, right? Have a wallet, deposit certain money, bond, go through what we call a bonding pallets process, and then collectively come together to say launch an operational data cluster that can already be validated, and then they go through like a local governance protocol, right? And then together they say we're forming a cluster and we're gonna adhere to this kind of type of operational standards, right? So that SLA and as well as the economic value that we bring, which is the guaranteed revenue and revenue split, right, to the validators, that has to be submitted, right, and approved. And once they do that, that means their cluster will be constantly monitored, and all the customers of that cluster, they have to go sign up, come to our chain and actually sign up for developer accounts, right? And all the people who run nodes there, they have to all bind by the governance rules, right? And also all the data are by default, right, completely fractionized or not recognizable, right? If you're saying, hey, I want to deconstruct all the information, just technology wise, all the information is sharded and distributed across the network in a very sort of efficient and highly resilient way, right? meaning that it's a high degree of replication and survivability, right? Usually by default factors, and then a high degree of redundancy and a high degree of recoverability, right? To something like, say, hey, if you have 100 nodes and 80 of them die, you're still most likely to, well, greater than 99 percentage opportunity to recover your data, right? So like I can go in and talk about any of those details, but you have to be able to break up the question to, what about data security, right? There's just so many aspects of that question.
Sure, I think with NextGA and then more development on cluster.
Yeah, so if we polish that question into maybe specific, right, more specific questions about different aspects of data security, then I can answer some of that myself, right? And we can also get our technical staff to answer some of those in the near future, right? Perhaps that's improvement for future format, which is we can already kind of bring some of these very good and constructive, sort of questions from developers in general, and some of the things that we want to, really kind of like shed light to, right? Have that prepared before the meeting.
Absolutely. Cool. There's one more question, and maybe that's a good one to wrap it up with. We touched on it briefly already, but how do we differ from current competitors in the market? Comment was, it's been a long time since Filecoin was considered a competitor, and now they're more developed than us. I can briefly touch on that. I think I would love to challenge everyone here to start streaming content from decentralized CDN using Arweave or Filecoin. And the cool point is actually that you don't need to be a developer, given that I myself was able to hack this website, with the media SDK integrated, content streamed from CDN, as you can see, Dragon 1 CDN.
On your own developer account?
Yeah.
Oh.
So by using the documentation in Dragon 1, even before the polished version, if I can do this, there's really no hurdles for anyone else to
I'm
play around with
surprised you didn't get to the CAPTCHA. I'm just joking.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's something that we should highlight much more in the future. Streaming is a massive industry with players like Cloudflare, Akamai, and then we know that we are faster, cheaper, and like Fred said, perhaps even more usable already. So we should definitely highlight that more, and it's something we'll drive much more awareness around.
Sure.
I have one more question coming in, Fred. Do you think AI agents are a way to prevent abusive content storage on these Cere data clusters?
Well, I think there are certain type of AI that can be deployed to do self-inspection in the future, right? But I think we're long ways away from thinking that. So right now, the most important thing that we're able to do, which is fully account for, like, how many times the developer users are actually storing the data, or how much how many gigabytes they're actually using, or how much are they kind of streaming that content, right, to how many users, what's the cumulative number of streams, number of gigabytes. We can account for all these activities, right? The very next thing that we're adding to the list is the secure AI agent computation that's happening on that, right? So be able to account for when your data was accessed, and have the tools allow you to extract that information. You can see the entire execution path, right, of the AI agents, to say when did they access certain information, when did they query, when did they retrieve some data, and what did they produce, right? So we already have the tools to do that full end-to-end, because we needed it for our first customer, right, in AI. So that is actually what's much more appealing. This is much more what everyone's looking for, right? To say, hey, how can you securely channel intelligence onto my data, right? How can I actually see that the AI agents are producing or not producing, right? Behaving or not behaving, right? So the infrastructure is already built for that purpose, right? So I think that's a better way of thinking about what we are really focused on doing with AI. Cool.
Yeah, and a lot of people are focusing on this, of course. So it will be a way of just a matter of plugging in, most likely, eventually. Cool. Michael, I saw you raise your hand. Any your question? Michael? All right. Might be misclick.
Fat finger dial. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that is a nice way to wrap it up. Big thanks to everybody for joining. Of course, we will be further sharing the recording with the broader community. Of course, streams from Dragon One, same way as last recording. Big thanks to the DAO directors, Frank, Arndt, Fred, everybody joining, and we look forward to seeing you next time with a big update on what we set out we will be doing, and making sure you guys can keep us accountable.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.